Every few years, we have to deal with some of the dumbest arguments in gaming, in my opinion, and that is going to be the comparison of two games that are in the same genre and having to pick a side. First, we've seen it, well, the earliest example I can think of is when Overwatch released in 2016, the comparisons to TF2. Again, when Valorant released in 2020, the comparisons to CSGO and how you had to pick a side. And now, here we are. Ever since December, actually even before that, the beta of Marvel Rivals, there's been comparisons to games like Overwatch. In all fairness, is a completely valid comparison to make. They're both games that are in the hero shooter genre, but why do we have to pick a side? In today's video, we're going to explore this really radicalized, weird idea of having to pick a side and hating one game because they're in the same genre. If you're watching this video, you already know a lot about Rivals. I mean, the game's beta was out back in August of last year, and its full release came in December, with an absolute booming reception to fans. This was everything that Overwatch wasn't to most players, and that's exactly what people wanted at the time. With the years of just neglect that the dev team was giving to Overwatch, it was finally time for a game to come in and actually boost the productivity of games like Overwatch. I remember hearing recently that the best thing to ever happen to Overwatch was Marvel Rivals, which is something I still agree with, and I heard that a long time ago. In today's video, we're going to talk about why people are comparing these two games, why you shouldn't have to pick a side, and overall just enjoy whatever game you want to play. There's been a lot of controversy going on with Rivals recently with the support strike, Necros just getting buried alive, getting tomatoes thrown at him as he's walking to the stake. Like, this man is just getting absolutely pummeled because he said support players are getting carried. So that's just a little bit of the drama going on with Rivals right now, and it's honestly, I think a huge part of it is like, I mean, besides the Necros drama in a clip that was taken out of context, it's just the honeymoon phase of this game is worn off. It's been out for 5 months now, 6 months almost. Like, there's gonna be people complaining about things, and that's just bound to happen. Games get past the honeymoon phase fairly quickly, and you got to be a little more critical about them. So yeah, things aren't going to be great all the time, and we're never going to reach the peak that it was in December and January. I mean, maybe somewhere far down the line, but I'm going off on a tangent right now. Let's get back to the point of the video. Why are people comparing Overwatch and Rivals? Yes, they're in the same genre. Yes, they're both, well, one's 5v5, the other one's a 6v6 hero shooter, but I think they both hit different niches for people. As we all know, Overwatch has always been hyper balanced when it comes to things. It is the competitive integrity of that game is all based off of the balance and how perfectly counters work against one another. If you guys want a little more background on how this all works kind of thing, I'm definitely not the guy for it. I played Overwatch from like 2019 to 2022 on both console and PC, but once Overwatch 2 came out, I kind of stopped playing and I really haven't gone back since. Was it in 2022 that it was released, Overwatch 2? I don't know, but whenever that came out, I kind of stopped playing it and I kind of moved over to Valorant. With Rivals coming out, it is really like lit that fire underneath me to play these hero shooters again because I loved Overwatch. I loved hopping on with my 5 like IRL friends and just playing the game. I was such a disgusting Zarya main and my friend was a Reinhardt main. It was just gross. It was so much fun. It was so good, and Overwatch 2 kind of ruined that for me because I was an off-tank player, so it just kind of went downhill, and I eventually fell in love with Valorant, so that's just kind of where my priorities fell. But when Rivals came out, it was just something I wanted to hop back into and just enjoy. But I think Rivals brings something completely different to the table. When you have a game that's hyper balanced like Overwatch, it kind of seems like Rivals has taken the approach of everything is broken so nothing is broken, kind of like what old Modern Warfare 2 was back in 2009. That's just kind of the approach that Rivals is taking, which is a lot more hyper casual compared to Overwatch. Sure, there's like major differences where like if healers in Overwatch had the same amount of output as, let's say, like Invisible Woman, Luna Snow, or Rocket, like it would completely change the game because it's just so much more potent in a game like Rivals. There's so many changes. I feel like history repeats itself a lot, and there's so many things that people complained about Overwatch that they want to see implemented into Rivals and just basically make it Overwatch, which makes no sense to me. We see this with countless other things. When something new comes out and it's compared to something that's a little bit older, it immediately people want changes to make it to the game that they don't want to play anymore, which is like, it's so hard for me to wrap my big ass brain around. It just throws me for a loop. I want these two games to be different, and one person who I look up to, if you haven't seen at all, is, I mean, obviously if you're here you've probably seen him, but Flats has a very good mind for this kind of game, for these kinds of this genre. I highly recommend, like, if you have any opinions of your own, go see what he thinks, because he is way more educated on the subject than any of us are. Also, if you're curious about what the game plays in the background, this is Marvel Rivals Fight Night. It's an esports event hosted by the community that happens every Thursday, where they invite some of the best teams from Europe and North America to play against each other. Highly recommend it. Go show them some support and love. Really great guys over there. See, I'm starting to worry that like people are going to start wanting to see role lock and stuff in this kind of game, and it just kind of make it into an Overwatch clone, which is the last thing I want, and I think a lot of people want. I want this game to go down the hyper casual route, where it's just everything is nuts, so nothing is broken, compared to what Overwatch is, where it's very cut and dry, as in this hero will counter this hero perfectly. And obviously there's aspects of that, and we're seeing that inside of Rivals, but it's very more cookie cutter in Overwatch compared to Rivals. Is that because the game's been out for almost 10 years and people have learned the proper counters to things? Probably, because mind you, Rivals has been out for 5 months. This thing can't even go to preschool yet, okay? So the fact that there's so much more that has been learned over time from Overwatch, it may take it a little bit to kind of get into that cookie cutter mold for Rivals, but we're still in the experimental phase of, sure, there's things that are meta, but you can still find little things that fit your niche that you want to play in this game, which is something I really like. I've always thought the debate of comparing two games in the same genre and having to pick one side has been the dumbest thing ever. Like, I've never really played CSGO. I've played it a little bit here and there. I've always been more of a Valorant guy. But if you ask anyone that I know that plays Valorant consistently, they don't care about what people in CSGO think. And it's kind of I hope that's kind of the sentiment that's going on at the Rivals community. It always seems like it's the people who enjoy the previous game are the ones who are making the most fuss about how you have to pick a side. It was the same thing with TF2 and Overwatch when it came out. There's so many more hidden mechanics inside of TF2 that it's the skill ceiling is a lot higher in some aspects of that game. So people were complaining that Overwatch is very bland compared to that high skill ceiling of movement and other mechanics inside of TF2. But just because that's a thing, why can't people enjoy both? That's just always been the dilemma with me, and I don't. We live in a very interesting time in the world right now, where there's a lot of tensions everywhere, and that's very much leaking into the gaming space as well. It has been for years at this point. And I get it, like this video, I don't have a script for this video, so I'm actually just whatever's coming into my brain, I'm just kind of yapping about. But I still think a lot of this is still valid to what I'm trying to say. And with like tensions rising all around the world outside of gaming, it's bound to leak into it. And it just seems like people and the Marvel Rivals community is also like very toxic at the moment and just flaming people. And it kind of seems like that moved over from the Overwatch community into this, which is really unfortunate. Flat's made a very good video recently. I'll try to make sure to go check it out. He just talks about the state of the community of Marvel Rivals, and I actually just couldn't agree more to what he had to say about that. And it kind of makes you want to go back to Overwatch, because it seems like that community is a lot less toxic at the moment, which is obviously a plus. I've just always been confused, like I've said multiple times in this video, by having to choose a side and picking a game. I went back and played games like CSGO, and it's super fun. Do I sit there and flame it because it's not Valorant? No. Do I go back and play Overwatch and flame it because it's not Rivals? No, because just because they're in the same genre doesn't mean they have to be the exact same game. That's not what people want. But it kind of seems like that's the sentiment everyone is saying, but the actions do speak a lot louder than words. When we're seeing people clamor for changes to be put into a game like Rivals that would just make it into Overwatch. People, I saw complaints about, mind you, this was a while ago. I probably don't have the proof of it, but I'm sure many of you have heard people complain about how there's no roll queue. People are locking 5 DPS. Like, I understand that's going to be a problem when it comes to these kinds of games, but why would we try to make it into something that's going to be a product that's going to be exactly the same? Why people stopped wanting to play the previous game? That's what I just don't understand. And also, it's really good to have this competition, so I don't know why people are wanting to choose a side. Play whatever game you want to play. Both these games being in the same genre is just better for the community overall. We have two developers wanting to compete with each other and keep the player base, so they're going to implement constant changes. They're going to implement new game modes, new content to keep their player base from going to the other game, which in the end just benefits us as a player base. I haven't played it yet, but I've heard the new stadium mode in Overwatch is phenomenal, so I might have to hop over and play that. But honestly, I'm so satisfied with Rivals that if some of my friends want to go play Overwatch, by all means go for it. But it's not something that I really want to do, and that's totally okay. I know this is way more of a rant video, and I probably planned this out way better in my head until I turned on the mic and just started yapping here. But man, it's just so frustrating to see just negativity upon negativity in communities like this. At the end of the day, it's a video game. Why don't you just go outside, touch some grass, come back in, and realize that it's not that deep? That's just a lot of things I think people need to realize when it comes to this. Sure, gaming can be frustrating sometimes. Sure, you can like a game more than others, but why do you have to bash people for wanting to like other games? That's something I've never understood, and I really hope that sentiment changes because as of right now, I really feel like the Marvel Rivals community is kind of just becoming more and more toxic over time, and it kind of feels like that toxicity that was a part of Overwatch for so long has just transferred over to this game, and it just seems like everyone's mad all the time. There's 9 out of 10 comp games you play, there's going to be someone getting flamed, and if that's me doing it, which I have flamed people before, it's not healthy to do, and I understand that that's a bad thing for me to do, but man, you just gotta, everyone's got to come to realize, even if you've done it, like, it's fine to admit you're wrong, and just realize that the game is not that deep and it's supposed to be for fun. So why don't we all just enjoy what we want to play? And if it's in the same genre, so be it. Who cares? Let's just have a good time. You know, we all want to play games. Let's all just play games and have a good time with it. But yeah, guys, that's just something that I've been really frustrated with lately, and it's just been on my mind. So if you have any thoughts or comments on what I've said, if you disagree with me, I would love to have a conversation with you in the comments below. We don't need to flame each other, you know, but we can have a good conversation. I want to hear you guys' thoughts, what the point of these videos are for. So if you enjoy, guys, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Go check out some of my other videos. Also, we have like 10 new subs from one of my GTA videos I made a couple days ago. So if you're new here, hello. Thank you for coming by, and I hope you enjoy the content. We do a variety of stuff, and I hope you stick around a while. And I appreciate you for making it this far in this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.